Hi, as a part of the mini project for mobile application and development lab, we have built an Android app called MyShare. This is basically a bill splitting app. This is designed to fulfill the needs of the user by reducing their efforts for the settlement of the bill. This application helps the users to know who owes who and for what. The aim of the project is to provide the best approach to help users and their companions to share expenses easily. This Android application is built in Java on Android Studio and is implemented using model view model architecture, which facilitates the separation of the development of the graphical user interface from the backend logic. And we have used SQLite database on top, an abstraction layer called room database used. And let's see the working of the app. First we create a group. Second, we select the group and add members to the group. And next we add the expenses or the bills. And select the member who have paid the bill. And this app will display who owes whom. The features of this app is this is an offline app. No internet connection is required for the working of the app, and no user login or registration is required. And it uses a big of an algorithm to settle the debts. And let's see the design of the database. So we have three entities, that is group entity, bill entity, and member entity. In group entity we have group name and group currency. Group name is a primary key in group entity, and we have a bill entity id, member id, item name, item paid by, item cost, and group name. Here id is a primary key and group name is a foreign key. In member entity we have id, member avatar, member name, and group name. Here id is a primary key and group name is a foreign key. And this is a MVM architecture, that is model view model architecture that we have used. And first is activity or fragment, and the next we have a view model. This is basically the entry point for the data, and we have a live data so that any changes occurs to the particular data is reflected in all the components. And next we have a repository, where we write the queries like insert, delete, and it executes in async mode. That is the user experience is not disturbed. And then if we want to store the data in on-premise, we use SQLite, on which top of which an room database used, and the data is accessed using data access objects. And here the query is executed in compile time. And let's say the backend logic. This is a code for the database. The name of the database is Split It Easy, and we have three entities, that is member entity, bill entity, and group entity. Since we have used a model view model architecture, each entity will have a bill view model factory, bill view model repository, and bill entity. And the flow of data goes from the end. When the user enters the input, it goes to the bill view model factory, and then for bill view model and in repository, which performs the queries in async mode. And the data is accessed using data access objects. For particular entity we have particular data access objects, for bill and for group and for member data access objects. and this is the front end of the app, which is coded using XML. Thank you.